Hi, welcome to our special edition, November 22nd, 2022, 11/22/22, our Astrology What's Up Today show with Valorie Renee and Shawn Sykora. Thanks for joining us here live or on the replay if you're with us listening in the replay. Shawn.
Yes.
Thank you for joining me tonight. Shawn is a wonderful astrologer and Reiki healer, musician, sharing his love, making his mark right now in these wonderful times we're in. And I am Reiki practitioner, teacher, doing various healing work and sound work, and also working to hold this light and love as we move through each day in this wonderful period of time we are in. So my question for you today, Shawn,
Oh
is
no.
as
These are unrehearsed, so just bear with
yes,
it.
this
Okay.
is our
Make it a
unscripted.
good one. Let's
As
make it infinite.
as we head into this amazing Sagittarius new moon, what is your favorite thing about Sag?
Oh, can't you give me a hard question? Sag. Well, the fire signs are just fun, all capitals FUN, and mutable Sag. I mean, if you think of fire and it needs air and it needs fuel like earth, and you can put it out with water sometimes, or you can make steam and have a great sauna and healing, but it's mutable fire, and fire is mutable. You can watch the flame. It's like starlight. I took this great class and it was supposed to be about reading, but it was really about the 7 hertz frequency. In the old days there was no electricity, we weren't harnessing it yet, and the stories by the firelight and the starlight, it's like that's the frequency of the you'll help me out, I forget which one's which, but it's like the Zen meditation mind, or whatever meditation, it doesn't have to be Zen, but that's when your mind is not asleep and not awake, it's another state, and you can understand and travel and be anything. So that's a good thing, there's a lot of information now about the Sag, and it's fascinating watching people as I get older and all the different stories that I've heard, and now I'm hearing retold in a little bit different way from younger people or just other people. And Sag is extremely optimistic, and we're in I like challenging times more than wonderful times. It's all wonderful, and Sag is like, it's all wonderful, it's great, it's super. They're very optimistic. Sag is kind of wedged between Scorpio, which is let's control everything. We got to keep the family tight, and we're all controlled and loyal. And if we're not, that's not a good thing. But then Sag is like, well, I'm going on a trip, or I'm going to go far away. Or Sag, again, different stories. If you go way back in history, the metallurgy, am I saying it right? Anyways, the technology for making metal stronger than the last metal. That's how people would win wars, the Bronze Age and the whatever age. And then tin, they figured out, I think it's tin is like the Sag metal. Everything in astrology relates to everything. And when you get into the metals, tin, they had to travel a long way from Rome or Greece or wherever it was, or maybe some other culture. And it was a long journey to get the tin, but once they brought it back, they could smelt it, and their swords and weapons became stronger. So then they would win, because whatever has the strongest metal, it defeats the weaker metal, and then you're on the next step.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's Sag. It's long distance travel, but there is a goal. People think they're just airy fairy, or that they can do too much. It's ruled by Jupiter, and that's a whole thing. Maybe we'll talk about that a little more. There's so much to talk about with Sag, and Sag talks all the time. But part of our healing and focus is learning to go within and understand ourselves. And sometimes the longest journey is still in ourselves, even though Sag is like way out there, or the clue of the Milky Way is the latter degrees of Gemini and Sag. So if you don't have too much light pollution or clouds, you can look up when you see that stripe. Those are the later degrees of Sag and Gemini from the tropical perspective, tropical astrology, Western style. And that's like gaze upon the stars, and the infiniteness, and the connectivity. We're all connected. I mean, that's when I see that in someone's chart, the last like 5 degrees of Sag and Gemini. That's where the galactic nodes and axis and other points that are very strong are very connected. It's infinite. You know, the Milky Way is just our little galaxy. It's a pinwheel, but it's like the side view, and it's sort of a line. You know, there's a bubble in the middle. And anyways, get into the galaxy, what we have, but that's looking at our galaxy from a side view, looking more like a paper plate as opposed to a pinwheel, because it's the 90-degree view. There, was that enough, Sag? That wasn't too much. There's a few things. Sag goes on forever, and there's always more. I mean, a real university, learning the universe, the more you learn, you have questions to ask, and there's just more to learn, and it keeps expanding. And that's why these theories of the universe, it just expands its knowledge. You don't get to the edge and go, oh, I'm past the learning point. It just expands. There's a nice person had a bubble of your mind. The more you learn, the more you read, experience life, whatever, it's just your bubble gets bigger. But that's one of the things in physics they don't talk about too much. You're always in the center when you study Zen or meditation or certain martial arts. If you focus and have a calm mind, you're in the center of the universe, and no one can bother you and get into your center. And we want to have a calm mind, like you're saying, with love and healing and working with people, being a conduit of everything. That's some of the Sag stuff. It's everything.
So the dreaminess, and
envisioning
pulling
and
things, envisioning. It's interesting because my son is a Sag, and he's been waking up quite often. He wakes up and needs to write things down, or he'll say, "Oh, I've got to capture this. It's in my head. I dreamt it." These things he sees in dreams. So that's a very, very cool thing. Yeah. I sometimes do that, but not to the degree he is bringing information. And plus the younger generation, I mean, that's what they're coded to do now. It's in their makeup. They're here to bring in these visions and bring change to our world. Yeah,
one of the thoughts as we progress, I heard a nice thing today. It's like, you know, we're not raising our children now. It's not the same as how we were raised when we were children. For the older people, you know, it's like it's totally different. So, you know, and like we had the programming from before, and as if that really worked well, you know. It's like there's good and bad, and you learn stuff. It's like you're doing the best you can, and now it's like it's all changed, you know. I like this USB, but now there's USB 3 or C, or now it's wireless, or, you know. Anyways, but it's fascinating. Yeah, envisioning, because in the old style, before the later planets like Neptune was discovered, you know, Jupiter had double duty of Pisces and Sagittarius. So between those two, it's very much envisioning and knowing stuff without having to touch it. You know, Pisces without touching it, and the vision of the Sag. You know, they show the archer and the arrow, and long distance travel, higher learning, like in a university. It's just so much more. And I mean, one of the ways to understand it is the planets. Jupiter is basically, it's a little bit too small to be a sun as far as the physics we understand. If it was a little bit bigger, we'd have a star system. And, you know, we know there's bi and tri systems in other places, and they go around each other. And I think that would really mess up our little Earth stable thing of just one sun. You know, it's like if they're crisscrossing, we'd blow up or burn or be too cold. I don't know, but Jupiter wants to be, you know, that's one way to understand the Sag. There's many, I hate labeling it. And again, Sag, not the sun sign, like, oh, I'm labeling people born in this little window, you know, 1/12 of the year, but it's the factors that can be prominent or not so prominent in people's charts, whether they're born this time of year or they have planets in there, or prominent in the Sag house, the 9th house. It's just so much. You know, I can't even explain it because I'm not a Sag. I do have Venus in Sag, so I like Sag. And anyways, keep asking questions. I'll try to give you short answers, because otherwise the Sag will just go off and you won't even see me. I'll just go, oh boy, yeah.
So Jupiter has been so incredibly big and bright, and so has Mars rising on the horizon from Southern California. You know, I'm in the Los Angeles area, and I'm out, and it's coming up on the horizon, and I can see the red in Mars with the naked eye. And you know, the the distance vision can use help, but I still can distinguish that there's a tinge of color to Mars. It's so incredible. And then of course
Sure.
Jupiter is amazing. It's been so bright as it, over the last months, as it's gone in its retrograde and then went direct. I
Yeah, the
think that's what it is.
brightness. Yeah, I mean, it's a gaseous, almost sun planet, but the reason we can see the other planets is the sun's light is reflecting off it. Like anything, you can't really see stuff. You see photons bouncing off stuff and going to your eye, or that's, one physics theory and all that stuff. But it's like you're still seeing it because it's bouncing light from the sun. So the Jupiter is it's the opposite. Let's see where we're at. Should I go to a screen share? I never know how much
Sure.
to screen share or not screen share.
Sure. So it's reflection. We're seeing the reflection of the sunlight, just like with the
Yeah, but I
moon.
want to come on, screen share. There we go. Okay, how's this?
That I've enjoyed
Host only, all
looking.
participants. I'm a co-host. Can you see my screen share?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
I'm just getting extra stuff. Okay, so if you see the sun here, and we're about to have a new moon in Sag, and that was kind of the interesting transition because last month or last sign when the sun was in Scorpio, we had we talked about the eclipses here and the Taurus Scorpio stuff. And so the sun leaps into Sag here because Sag doesn't walk or hop, it leaps, and it it's a horse, it can jump, it's wild, it's having fun, it's mutable, it's fire. This is the party we're going, that's Sag. It's like they won't even pack a toothbrush. It's like, I'm just going to Europe, or I'm just going to America, or whatever. It's like, let's go, or sort of like the Aries, they don't tell you what they're doing, they just do it. The Sag is just like, where did they go? It's like they didn't even say goodbye. Well, they had stuff to do. So, here it's rewriting here. So you can see right now the moon's at 21, and the moon will catch up to the sun. The sun goes a degree a day. The moon's about 13 degrees a day. So it's only 9 degrees away, or 10 if it's going to meet it at 1. See, we have 0:52. So it's once the sun gets to 1, I don't know the exact minutes, but so at 10 degrees away, we're about 20 hours. So at the time of this filming right now, it's the Greenwich time is 5:18 on the 23rd. Anyway, so you guys can do the math if you want, but in less than a day, it's going to be a new moon. So, I was talking about how it's weird because the sun went into Sag, and the moon was in Scorpio. So it's really close. That's why it's only 1 degree conjunction there for the new moon. But it's like we still had more Scorpio to do. So it's kind of this feeling of like Sag is like, let's go. It's party time. It's time to buy presents and be opulent. And in the Western thing of the like Santa's bag of goodies when you're a kid, it's like it never empties. He just has this one bag, and he just keeps. The more he pulls out, the more toys there are to pull out, and it's like infinite. Infinite acceleration. I remember that in physics, it's like it doesn't stop. There's no friction in space. It'll just keep going. So yeah, you go from the Scorpio of like, let's stay fortified and let's have a strong family, and then the Sag is like, I'm going to another country and I'm going to marry someone else, or I'm going to go visit this, or it's a foreign thing, or I'm going to go to college and expand my mind. And or in Western culture, we got it down because we're a Cancer, about food country, and it's like, well, Thanksgiving we'll eat too much, and then we'll buy too much on the next day, and the sun's in Sag, woohoo, and we're going to buy stuff, and we're going to go visit everyone, and we're going to have office parties and eat too much and drink too much, and maybe other things, those office relationships during the holidays and stuff. And then to get reeled in, we get then we go here to Capricorn, and Capricorn's like, well, you got to have some boundaries, and you spent too much, and here's the first credit card due, bill coming days before Christmas. Christmas is in Capricorn. So another thing to watch is the Mercury and Venus are traveling together. So it's an interesting way of understanding those two planets combined. See how they're really close, 8 and 9, and they pretty much stay together all the way into Capricorn until I think Mercury starts retrograding. Got my chart here. It starts retrograding, the 20, let's see, where is it? The 29th, yeah, at 24 Capricorn. So once it starts retrograding backwards, Venus will keep going, and it retrogrades later next year in July. So anyways, So keep no dead air, Shawn. So that's another interesting thing to look at. But yeah, so once the moon goes in there, we have our new moon. It's kind of like we really will feel the more Sag, but it's been lightening up. When these two guys went back like a week or so ago, you can see again they move about, all this stuff moves about a degree a day. They have, whoops, rewrite. The Mercury, of course, and Venus have retrogrades, and they're on the inside of the Earth's orbit, so they have that unique. We'll talk about that another time, but anyways, they're traveling together right now, and it's interesting to feel that. But now the sun's in there, and then the moon's going to come in there. We still have, eclipses every 6 months. There's next year. There's more eclipses when the sun and the moon go by Taurus and Scorpio. So it's still very intense and changing because the nodes are the focal point of where the eclipses are. It's down to 12. It's going to go down to 11, yeah, and then by next year it'll go from 11 down to 21 Aries, so it'll start shifting. See, it goes backwards or clockwise. The planets go counterclockwise, the nodes go backwards or clockwise, because it's a weird thing, because the Earth spins. It's a really weird thing. Here, let's see if I can show it with my hand. It's like, some people don't get it. It's like the Earth's going around the Earth's going around the sun, but it's spinning reverse way. So as it's going this way and gaining degrees, it's back spinning. So that's why it looks like the signs are spinning one way and the planets are going the other. Does that make sense? Did I lose you?
Yes.
It's
no.
Yeah.
I mean, everything's moving. It's like,
yeah, everything's
it's like all
motion.
of us. Everything
But the
moves.
planets are going this way. They're going up the signs. And we start with Aries and Taurus and whatever. But the nodes are going backwards because of the wobble of the moon and where it's crossing the ecliptic of the Earth. But anyways, that's a whole nother thing. But go ahead.
Yes. All
Just
right.
Sag. I'll just keep going. It's Sag. It's all good. It's infinite.
So tomorrow's actual time on the Pacific, with the Pacific time, is
Right.
2:57 p.m. 2:57 is the apex of the new moon. I love this traveling together.
Yeah, that's what I have. 2:57.
I love this traveling together.
Oh, that you want to talk about that a little more? The Venus and Mercury?
It can be Venus and Mercury, but just this idea of traveling together. And Sag is light, Sag is fun, and I just, so I've had some stories there. I mean, there's so much happening for so many people.
Sure.
There's so much grief all around. We're heading into the holiday season, which is joyous for many people, and equally the opposite, sad and hard for many people.
Yeah, it's depression and less light for the northern hemisphere and things like that.
Yeah, but a lot of loss too. I mean, even aside from just the light and the dark, it's been a year of loss. So, every time holidays come, that's impactful
the loved ones,
for the loved ones who aren't there. And there's many ways to help support people with that. And always encourage reaching out, and and if somebody lost someone close to them, just pay a little extra attention, say hello, remember their birthday if it's a close enough relationship,
right.
or their loved ones' birthdays too, because those days will be hard for them, as well as holidays. But this idea, I had read this post someone had made about his 3-year-old who had died.
Oh.
And he said in his post, he wrote the time that they had lost her, and she had been sick, but he wrote that, I can't breathe. And he had a number of people writing him and saying, I lost my child at this age. There's lean into the people who have gone before you. The people ahead of you on this path. You're not alone.
Right.
And then the most beautiful thing I read was multiple people writing and saying, I can breathe for you. Lean into me, lean into us as your community. Let us breathe for you until you're strong enough to take the breaths yourself.
Yeah.
You know, it just was such a beautiful way of expressing support.
Yes.
Yeah. And so anyway, the traveling together, when you said that, it just kind of made me
Hmm.
smile. It's this idea, uh, there's so many roads and there's so many ways that we do travel together. And just the idea of the planets traveling together as well.
Right.
Aspects.
Uh-oh. Is that your dog, or I'm gonna mute? I
Got
muted
it.
Kara.
Yep. So, okay,
Yeah.
so this idea of traveling together, it's a
Yes.
beautiful thing. The planets, this idea that, yeah, they're up there all happy with you.
It's
We've got
sad.
this awesome influence going on.
Yeah.
And maybe not so awesome sometimes, but it's all part of
Yeah.
it's
Well,
all energy we can work with.
right. Yeah. I'm gonna stop the screen share. Yeah. The it's many things. The well, those planets traveling together, it's like Sag, there's no boundaries as far as
Mm.
distance. It's like you can get there, or the over exuberant kind of energy of the Sag is happy and party, and let's you know we can always get more later, or use it or lose it, or enjoy it and don't worry about running out and stuff like that. It's like these two little planets are desires, and it is more youth. Venus is more young feminine, and Mercury's like the kid, and the learning in the third house is young children, elementary school education, and the neighborhood, and the little cliques and the little groups that aren't as sophisticated as the Sag going, I'm going to college, or I'm going to another country, or I'm going outside of the neighborhood, I'm going to the other neighborhood at least. So maybe that's a way we can connect with them. And then two, it's a fine balancing point, but the beings, you don't have to be exuberant over the top. You can gauge people. At least I try to match where they're at. But what's that saying you always say? It's like meet them where they are to take them where you want to go. But if someone's really depressed, you can't go, oh, come on, just be happy. But Sag doesn't look on the negative. It's like optimistic, or they talk about envisioning, or one of the healing things. This country, we have a really hard time dealing with death and stuff. Other countries is more celebratory, but I've been to my share, and it's like when you share the good times, it's like a healing, or there's good parts, and they can stay with you, and you remember the good parts, because it's like focus on that. And that's the Sag, just like it's only good, it's only optimistic, it's great, it's like the big brother, Jupiter's like the super big brother, or the big authority, or whatever, big sister, whatever you want to call it. It's like, yeah, there's in the physics, it's like, again, Jupiter's almost the sun. If it was a little bit bigger, had a little more mass, it would be binary. But since it's so huge, it's like our guardian, and it sucks in, the gravity of it will suck in a lot of the meteors and stuff. It's like our protector. If you have Jupiter in the 12th house, it's like angels on your shoulder, it protects you.
Oh,
Or have it in the 6th, it's like everybody I know of, somehow they're protected or something. It's like nothing, nothing bad
yeah.
ever happens to me, so that song. Anyways, that's kind of the Sag thing. And you want to balance, want to balance with everything, but Sag's like, let's not balance, let's try not balancing for a while. And they make their own luck, they're optimistic, and that's a great tool when you are down, or to just look forward or look ahead. And then I was going to do my thing I learned in archery from a master, the when you're pointing, let's see, Carrie said a good finger. So if I try to point, like right now I'm pointing at me, I don't know if you can see this, but it's like my fingers going up and down and left and right diagonal. When you're aiming and you learn target shooting, no matter what you're using, a bow or a gun or whatever, slingshot, whatever, it's like, I'm exaggerating, but your hand's not going to stay perfectly. If I say, you can see it's wiggling a little bit. If I'm aiming for my head, I'm not doing this anymore. No. So when you learn, visualization and technique, aiming techniques from world champion Olympian teachers, it's like go for the goal, keep your eye. On archery, I did the X. You look at the X, and your hand's always moving. You're holding your form with your bow and all this stuff, but it's wiggling. And if you try to put some English and make it in the center, you'll ruin your form and you'll miss your target. But if you keep thinking the target, your mind will actually know when to let go of the string, or it's constant motion. It just kind of happens. If you let your mind let go, let God, or meditation, or that 7 Hertz mind, going back to the fireplace, the campfire, the starlight. It's this vibration of you're aware, but it's in that special, meditation or prayer moment or whatever you want to call it. And your mind, there's a whole thing fixed into your eye of aiming that it'll know when to release it when it's moving, but it does match that one center point. So again, like the goals, like the visualization, there's that technique, put pictures on your bathroom mirror and your doors and refrigerator everywhere of what you're going for. So you keep reminding that's my goal, and all the details and distractions and even the stepping stones of achievement. It's like, you're not there yet. Just keep thinking on that goal, and the details, don't worry about it. Just keep doing the best you can, but keep that goal in mind. And that's the power of Sagittarius, is like they envision, they see, I see, the stars. It's like, I see the whole thing. In astrology, we're trying to grasp the infinite of the combinations and positions and aspects and rulerships and the part of fortune, the part of this. There's so many techniques, or different cultures, the animals in the Eastern style, and it just goes on and on, like Sag. So Sag's like, don't stop, it's infinite, just keep going. But you do have a focus on one goal. Maybe you have a couple goals, but what you're aiming for, literally that phrase, that's what you're aiming for. And you want to zoom in on that and keep that a constant, because we get distraction. There was another healer, Madame Blavatsky kind of scholar, was talking about, I was watching him, and it's like, I don't know, you got to watch it, I don't want to but it's like there's so much, and you just keep aiming and going for what you're going. And the little details, it's the devil's in the details. If you stop, there's always details, there's always stuff slowing you down. We have a plan, we allow so much time, and our ego's like, it's got to be this way, and our expectations and our entitlements and all that stuff. It's like, forget all that stuff. Sag is just like, just go. I'm going. Where are you going? I don't have a map. I'm going out the door. I'm going north. And I might turn around and go south, or I'll head east, or whatever. But have a goal in mind and go with it.
And what I'm hearing as I'm listening to
Reel
you,
me
Shawn,
back in, Scorpio.
and the sense is
yes,
that having the permission as you just go, right? Just take that movement and go, is that it's not going to be perfect, and it's okay. And there's a beauty
it's an adventure.
a sloppy imperfection, because you just went for it.
Yeah.
At least
is it sloppy? Yeah, there's the control part. Was it sloppy? I don't know. It was a clean getaway. The old clean getaway, in the movies, they're always like, they waited a little too long because they're like, let's stop and rest and have a love scene, or let's pick up that last item that I can't live without because I have to have it. Where the Sag is just like, I'm gone. You can't catch me. I'm gone. I'm having fun.
Right.
It's fire.
Right.
The flip, understanding the elements, this old basic theory of the earth. I always go earth, wind, and fire, but I'm dating my musical taste. But earth, air, water, and fire. And fire, it dances. It is mutable. That's why I think Sag is one of the most powerful thing, and that Jupiter is the most powerful gravitational force in our little solar system after the sun. It's the flames dance, and they never repeat. They're always going somewhere new. It's not, that's one of those, the phi thing of nature. Plants grow in a certain pattern, but the fire, there's rules and boundaries. But fire, or you see smoke, and they'll do those detailed, Fibonacci numbers or fractal. Now they call them fractal numbers, or whatever you want to call it. It's like, it starts out this way, and then it just breaks into a unique thing, or every chess game. A lot of Sag people, when you see the people with beards playing chess, that's probably a strong Sag energy or indicator. But it's like every move, every game in chess, it changes. There aren't repeat moves. They're all unique because there's so many variables. Or like, well, there's some fast food hamburger place. There's like 2,200,000 variables for this hamburger, because you can have it with or without pickles, or with or without this sauce, or and you get 2 to the power of whatever. Or if there's all these items, 5 or 10 whatever accoutrements, it's like every combination, it becomes massive. So it's exponential. So that's another way to look at this. It's exponential. It's infinite. You can go. But then you tell your, it's like, you can do anything you want, but there can be consequences. But that's where Capricorn comes in.
One, as I said, sloppy. I mean, that's a judgment, right? That one thing is sloppy to one person and not another. But no, I that's kind of a joking way of saying is not to worry about that, because we put so much emphasis on this idea that things have to be perfect. and it has to be the perfect this, and this in order to
Yeah.
make it happen. But in reality, we could wait our whole lifetime for that.
Yeah, that's
And so
another
it's time to
thing.
just
Yeah.
go.
Especially in America, we have, we've done the things with the signs, from Aries to Gemini is how you think, third house. So
Mhm.
you start with Aries, you always start with one, you don't start with zero. So Aries is one, Taurus is two, Gemini is three. The third step, the third sign from where you're starting from, say it's your sun, is how you think. So in America, we're a Cancer country, born in the summer with a Cancer sun. Three signs from that is Virgo. So we think like a Virgo, and it's Virgo's really good to get stuff done and be of service, but it's also, the trap you tell Virgos is it's you want it perfect. And it's like the Sag is like, which squares the Virgo. It's like, no, look at the journey, look at the goal. The Virgo's like, I want it to be perfect. And then you stop because it's not perfect, but the journey is the learning, and that's how you finish something or complete something, hopefully. And it was perfect because you learned what you had to learn. All the mistakes, or again, back to like Kobe Bryant's, like, they're like, what do you do when you make a mistake? It's like, it's not a mistake, it's telling me something I have to get better at, or work around, or delegate, or whatever. He had to do it all himself because it was about him and his body. But whether you have a company or whatever you're doing, trying to achieve stuff, so you might delegate, or you might take a break, or you might stop and learn more about, a certain aspect to get, you run a business. It's like, it's like, oh, got to learn something else. I was going to just do ABC. And it's like, oh, that B is, I've got to, learn something, or I have to redo it, or it didn't work the way I did. So I have to change course. And,
Well, life is mutable.
yes.
We're always changing.
Yeah.
So, um, we don't have a lot of time left. I did want to come back and say that,
No, there's infinite time. You're not
well,
listening.
in our time together in this moment,
I'm
in this
just
present
joking like a
moment,
good Sag belligerent would.
um,
Here, have a drink. Have some fun. Yeah.
the
Have some more
the
food. Buy some more stuff. Let's go somewhere. Don't bring your toothbrush. Let's just go. Road trip.
the oh, I was just gonna say, and that was the wonderful, lovely Rachel Hamfling, who the quote, "Meet people where they are." That's where I
Oh,
learned
right.
that from Rachel.
Oh, thank you, Rachel.
Yeah, meet people where they are to take them where you want them to go.
Yeah.
So we're not like getting stuck in that place, but we've got to be able to connect, to
Yeah.
move, to rise together.
So if I
Uh,
was going to do an astrology cartoon, the Sag person would be all tied up and stuck in a chair, bound down next to the person, like, I can't do anything. I don't. The Sag's like, just let me go. We can go. It's like, I'm here in this room with you. Can we agree to get in the car and go? And it's like, maybe that's a weird example. Am I following what you're saying? It's like, meet the person
well,
and realize
you're
they're
gonna
stuck, but then go.
right. You can meet them. You don't have to be stuck, but you have to be able to get down in that chair next to them
Yeah, yeah.
and to
Be in that room.
understand their stuckness, to like meet them in their stuckness,
That's the only reason a
to
Sag is in
then
the room with you,
open
to
it.
like, you could follow me if you want. I had a friend once and he's like, let's just go to Europe. Let's go. And I'm like, I don't even have a visa, or I don't, what? It's like, I've barely been out of the state. You go to your what? I should have done it. Now I'm older. Oh, well, you never know. And then the woulda, coulda, shoulda. It's like Sag is like, we're doing it. That should, is a Virgo thing, which is the mutable sign before that squares Sag. Virgo's like, no, we have to do this stuff and be perfect and have a tool set and pack our bags. And I remember Sheldon on Big Bang. He's like, he had scanner, I have a whole scan system of my socks. Even he had barcodes for when he's traveling. So he had a whole inventory. And it's like, he would never make it with the Sag. He didn't have a lot of Sag. Even though in the physics mind he had, infinite working with physics and, high level physics. But as far as details in life, very Virgo.
So, Shawn, remember back in way back in 2003, I jumped on a plane and went to India
Right.
to visit because I had a friend working
I'm gonna
there.
look that up. So
And I
2003,
went,
you had some serious Sag going.
that was in May, and we were but I already had gotten a visa, and it was just a matter of locking down the dates. And then when it ultimately came and it was time to go, I was like, I have a plane ticket and I can leave tomorrow. And I was talking to my boss, and
Right.
I'm like, do you need me anymore? I was contract. Do you need me? Because we
Right.
finished tax season. And he says, well, why are you, no, but why are you asking? And I said, because I have this trip. I have to be back on this day in May.
Oh,
And if I can leave, I have more time there.
the sooner the
And
better. Yeah.
I have a plane reservation to take off
That's
tomorrow.
the
And
sooner the better.
I can leave tomorrow. And he said, okay, we're done. He's like,
Nice.
you're good, go. And I literally ended up with a backpack with my laptop and
Wow.
toothbrush. And I'm like, I'll take it just one change of clothing and underwear because I'm going to wear whatever they're wearing. I'll buy clothes there.
Right. Right.
Yeah. And so I did that where I just was like, grab the backpack, run for the airport.
I had a great story. A friend of mine, he had I forget the details, but I'll just tell it as best I can recall. And he just had this car, and the car broke down, and he looked in the trunk, and the part he needed for the broken, they're like, he got it to a mechanic, like, oh, this part we have to order, blah, blah, blah. And he looked in the trunk, or he just did it himself, whatever. Very sad. And he's like, oh, there's a spare part. It's like the previous owner knew that there was a faulty part, so they had a spare. I think that's what happened, whatever. But he's like, he decided, he didn't go, oh no, I'm stuck and my trip's ruined. He's just like, I'll just look in the trunk. Okay, I'll put the part in. Or there's that rule, what is it? Nancy's always told me that 18 inches or 19 inches. Like when you need something, instead of running around, it's like, look around. There's probably something you can use, or it might be the actual artifact you're looking for, because you're tuned in. So that's kind of the optimism or belief of Sag. It's like, it's going to work out, instead of the old, doom and gloom. It's like, that's not Sag. It's like, woohoo. It's like, this is life, and I'm a dancing entity. I'm a flame on a log with air, and there's water over there if I need it, whatever. It's like, yes.
So we get to tune into this energy with this moon.
Yes.
I mean,
new
you don't have
beginnings
to
and
be
Sag.
yeah, you don't have to be a Sagittarius.
No, it's in your chart. Everybody has all 12 signs. Yeah, yeah.
So as
you're gonna do a Sag thingy.
I'm laughing. There was just a comment, Shawn, that no, the prior owner did a rebuild and couldn't remember where to put the part back. That's why it was in the trunk. So, but no, what I was just saying is to just like breathe in possibility in this in the coming, the coming days, especially we're freshly into the moon, its energy, but in the coming weeks, just follow the Sagittarius, look for your inspiration, look for new ways to maybe just be open to what could happen or what you could do or create.
And like the flame flicker that can be gone. So write it down. And even if you don't feel brave enough, or it's like, I can't do that right now, but make a list. Always try to do the tangible thing, make it somewhere, make the information known, and then there'll be a slot. It'll come up again. You have a list of like stuff that, transitional stuff or extra projects or some kind of change mechanism that you'll envision. So yeah, enjoy the vision, stare at the fire, or the starlight or whatever, it's like, oh, you're a pyro. It's like, no, I'm getting in tune with my Sag, we're staring at stars. Is that okay? And those are just giant, it's like our sun. They're all stars. It's just this massive energy of flame and whatever you want to call it, nuclear stuff. It's like, it's incredible. So it's not a pyro, it's meditation.
I love when we're having a fire, if you have the ability to have a fire, taking photographs on a digital camera of the fire, because the flames always show differently and it's just so incredible.
Yeah, I had a psychic class where they had a picture, and you could see that it was like the goddess of volcanoes or something in Hawaii. And in the picture, if you spun it the right way, you could see the goddess's face. I was like, so plain as day. It's like, is this photoshopped or what? This is before Photoshop? I don't know. But that's another thing. You look at the clouds or whatever, it's like, oh, you're just imagining, or is there something really there that's communicating to you, Depends on where you're at, Sag, you can have a couple of drinks or a couple of whatever. And it's like, whoa, I saw more stuff. It's like, are we just opening up our vision, Or is it just the Western going, oh, you're just out of it and this isn't true? It's like, well, what is truth? And that's where you get into philosophy and Sag. It's like, is that a chair? How do you describe a chair? Now you don't know anything because you try to describe something. It's infinite, and you could sit on it, but that's not a chair. That's a crate, or it's you've heard those debates before. So
So here
yeah,
in the US, we've been going through a really challenging, less than comfortable time with just a lot of fear energy, a lot of that being put out in media, just hostility, fear, lower vibrational energies. And just remember, we have the power within us to tune into love. Tune to that love channel. The fear, it can take you places you don't want to go. And there's enough of it around us. And when we sometimes can feel really heavy, or down, if you need help, put on a happy song. If you like
oh
music,
yeah, yeah,
put music on, something that makes you laugh, or brings you into a higher place. If you like comedies and there's a show you like that makes you laugh, or call a friend. This is kind of, I'm circling back to our traveling together.
mm-hmm.
um
Right,
let's magnify the love, and we magnify the love by tuning into that frequency, by remembering that, wow, there is a lightness and
right.
love, and there is possibility. We don't have to accept all the doom and gloom, and that we have no control. There are things we have no control over, but the love we feel in our heart, or the fear we allow, if we go that route, that is something that we do have control to
Mm-hmm.
change that for each of ourselves. And we sometimes need help to do it, and that's okay. That's what we're all, talk to somebody who's on the same wavelength and
Yeah,
frequency.
and like the way I think of it is stepping back and see the forest for the trees. It's like, what's going on here? What are we doing? Try to ground and figure out stuff. And like the eclipse season in Scorpio, it's like, well, I had to burn everything to make room, or I had to empty out the closet and give it to Goodwill, whatever you did, or people, the extreme people pass in our lives. But it's like, now I have to pick up the slack, or we're not going to do that anymore. And the Sag, it's like, well, I was here, but now I'm somewhere else, so I have more possibilities, because we hold on to stuff, and that's okay too. Some things you do want to hold on, but you ought to pick and choose. And especially if we feel they're negative, they're bringing us down and lowering our vibration. It's like, what adventure can Sag? What can I envision that would be better? How do instead of complaining, it's like, how do I really want it? And focus on myself. And what do I really want to do? And what control can I do? And like, you're always having us do these meditations where it's like, you get calm, you breathe, and you think love. It's like, wow, what a nice positive thing. Instead of like, let's watch the news, like, here's a rabbit, it's cute, and everybody died. And here's a cute baby, and then this bridge fell down, or it's so like they try to, that's how you hypnotize. You go back and forth between really happy things, really sad things. Like, let's work on just happy. And that's the optimism of Sag, of like, let's keep that vision and aiming for our goal no matter what happens. You watch documentaries talking about famous people, like, oh, they were just lucky and it was just famous. It's like, no, they had all these failures and they kept going. They just kept the vision. They wanted to do what they wanted to do, and no matter what, they just kept it going. So keep it going and focus. And we have, like you said, the Venus is what we desire and what we want, maybe what we need, but usually what we want. And the Mercury's the thinking on a very basic level, or talk, out of the mouths of babes, very simple stuff, but they're truths. So we have those personal planets are working with us every day for a month now. Well, they're at 8 and 9, so another 3 weeks, give or take. But the sun's in there, the moon. You'll feel an extra charge in the next day when we have that new moon. It's that time of year. It's like talk about starting a new moon. It's like we're starting and I didn't even put on my seatbelt and I'm out in space meditating, or I'm in another dimension, or I'm just having a glass of wine and relaxing, or I'm talking to friends, or I'm going to go travel, or they're traveling to me, or through the miracle of all this, this modern Star Trek stuff, we can talk to anybody anywhere in the world now. It's incredible.
Yeah. So as we navigate this, remember to be real with whatever you're feeling. Because there are times there's genuine sadness, and I'm not saying to like discount that. We have to feel our emotions that are there. Just find ways to move, honor it, feel it, and then move to a connection with something that brings you to a lighter place, a place of love. And as we're all doing this, we're creating more love, more light. And as we close our time together, I'm pulling from memory this meditation that I learned late last year. And okay, I got it. So if you're wanting to move out of what you're feeling, move to a lighter place, or just change, if you're upset about something and you just want to change the energy, just laugh. And so, yeah, there we go. And sometimes just ha.
Fifth house sun.
Ha.
Yeah. Right. Cheat it if you can't do it.
Ha.
Yeah.
Ha,
Or the
ha,
yawning.
ha.
Or the yawning like resets your nervous system, so you're not stressed. Just that faking a yawn, it's still a yawn, and
It's still a yawn. You'll and the laughter is the same thing, believe it or not. So there we go. Ha ha
ha
ha ha ha.
It's easy for me. I have a fifth house sun. Everything's funny to me.
Ha ha. And if you start doing it, you actually will reach a point that you can start laughing a little bit, especially if you're with someone. But even on your own, ha 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 ha, just ha. Is what made it so important. Now,
Yeah,
this is not heavy grief. That is
you need to process and go through that.
stress.
Yeah,
just the daily stress, just the news, and we're hearing about, oh, it's happening again.
Surprise. It's the same thing. You want to watch that again? Sag is like, no, I'm out the door. I don't need a toothbrush. I'll see you later. I'll do my own journey, my own visioning. And that's, again, the power of Sag. It's like, it's your TV, the NLP. It's like, envision your, make the scenes you don't like darker and quieter on the TV set. And the things you do like, make brighter and louder, and focus on that. Choose your focus. And that's what Sag is about.
Yes.
Or partly what it's about.
Yeah. And breathe fresh air.
Yeah.
Drink your water.
Sag in the mountains. Yeah. The high mountains and the trees. Pine trees.
And if you can't get to the mountains, find a picture you love. I mean, with the computers, we see all kinds of beautiful images from all around the world.
Right. The drone footage or find a tree in your neighborhood.
Or just a book look at the pictures and just really be present with it and just take it in. Because if you really gaze upon the images in a real way, if you can't be out in it, there are no trees, if you're city bound, find something you love and just really take it in. Or same thing for the ocean. For people who don't live near the ocean, find an image you love of the ocean and just look and breathe it in. Because the mind can take us there.
Right. Oh, that reminds me, if I could say another thing, is that's another elite athlete technique, is picturing my coach told me about this guy. He came in second, so is in the Olympics, and he's like, everybody just asked about the other person, how great they were and stuff. So they're like, they tried the next year, and they're training because of their life and career, whatever. They couldn't go and do a lot of range training and target practice, but they pictured in their mind, they just got on their bed and picture that they were there and they had the people around them. So again, that's the Sag, you image the scenario. So you're not nervous because like all of a sudden it's game day or it's whatever, the challenge comes up. It's like, picture yourself when you're practicing, you practice harder than the actual day is, like in archery, you'd shoot 300 arrows, and then in the competition, you're only going to shoot 30 or 50 or whatever. So it's like practice harder and envision that you're there and it's actually going on, and feel, that's one of the things I've been hearing about too, is that you feel you're there and make it, your mind can do anything. And it's all, our mind there isn't really reality. Our mind's just, from our receptors, we're talking about using our mind more and our envisioning, not just our five senses. And even those are changed, our memories and recalling stuff. It's all, it's like Sag's like, let's just make up this memory. And it's like, it's true because I said it, the optimism. And it sounds weird and it's fake, but if you get analytical about how the mind works and all the signals that come to you from your senses and things that get, repeated into a downward spiral, make it an upward spiral, stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. Tap into the infinite.
You can't stop Sag from talking. You just can't do it.
So let's just take 3 breaths, 3 yummy deep breaths, filling the heart and releasing. And another as we breathe in, fill our heart, fill our lungs, love and light, and exhale. Let it go, relaxing and letting go. And this 3rd breath, breathing in to the heart, the lungs, the torso, just expanding that breath as far as you can. And releasing as we fill the space all around us with love and light. Then smile, come back to this moment. Thank you for being with us here live.
Yes, thank you.
And here in those joining on our replay. It's lovely to be with you on this Sagittarius new moon.
Yeah. And feel free to share what you think. It's Sag, just, give us your opinion or give us some spin. We'll, add, modify, take into consideration anything.
Yeah, jump in. If you're actually watching this on YouTube or Facebook or anywhere else it's posted, yeah, we'd love to hear from you in the comments. Yeah, thank you very much. Happy holidays.
Yes, that's right.
However you celebrate them here and around
Thanksgiving
the world.
here. Yeah, we're counting. It's Tuesday, and 2 days is Thanksgiving here, and
here in the U.S.
The U.S. Thanksgiving. Yeah.
Yeah.
So have fun and check out that new moon. People who do ceremonies are just aware. It's like it's going to get a little bit lighter. There's still heavy stuff going on, but it'll be more so. The moon reflects our feeling in the public, so hopefully you'll get a little more positive stuff going.
Right. And the heavy can be there. The heavy can still be there, but you can choose to focus on the lighter aspects of where we're heading and what we're creating, in this space of love and space of infinite excitement.
Yeah. And letting stuff, instead of resist it, let it flow through you. That's a technique. I had this yoga class and it was at a gym, and upstairs was dead weights, and they'd be dropping dead weights. Boom, boom, we're meditating in class. And the teacher's like, this is perfect. It's real life. Let it flow through you. If you resist it, you're into resisting and you're doing this and you're stopping. It's like, it's part of life. And the Sag's like, just keep going. Of course there's going to be a bump in the road. We don't want a perfect flat road. It'd be really boring,
I actually had a client session last Monday, and at the studio, they were doing construction on this street right in front of me with jackhammers breaking up the concrete. And I called to give her the option. I was like, I'm here, and it is really loud. And she's like, I really need the session. And I said, great, because this energy is going to help break through whatever you're working on.
Yeah. Industrial strength. Yeah, literally.
Yeah. So use your surroundings.
Put on those lead boots, keep your toes safe.
So once again, thank you. You can find us. I'm Valorie Renée. I'm at Topaz Visions on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and my website, topazvisions.com. And Shawn Sykora, and he is on Facebook as well, and
Yeah, more stuff coming at some
more
point, but yeah.
more coming. And you can find his info is also in our bio on the
Yeah, but it's in Shawn's Astrology is the Facebook page of astrology, and I mostly repost other things I like of people and just try to keep it spread. And you know, my best advice is, you know, do what works for you. Test astrology as you're learning. Do what works for you, and you know, look for people that you connect with. You have a chemistry instead of making people wrong. Find the people that you're like, yeah, they nailed it. So like, go with them. There's so many people now. As you know, astrology is growing as Pluto's coming to Aquarius, and it's going to get real busy, real Aquarius, real astrology. So
fun times, lots of love. And that's Shawn, spelled SHAWN, Shawn's Astrology on Facebook.
right.
So lots of love, everyone. Thank you again for being with us.
Thank you,
Until
Valorie.
we see you again.
Thank you, Sag. Woohoo!